Hey guys, it's Elliot for the Keystone Financial Academy. So for this video, let's dive into a hot button topic and discuss whether college and really all higher education is necessary in today's world. Now, if you immediately had a negative emotional reaction to even the thought of higher education's necessity being questioned, it just goes to show how ingrained this idea of attending a college or university is in our collective consciousness. It's reached the point of being a sacred cow and not usually up for serious debate. Well, nothing could be further from the truth, and we'll need to make some steaks out of that sacred cow. When you consider how much information is now freely available at your fingertips, the spiraling costs of formal higher education, and the sometimes questionable return on your investment, it is very much worth examining if going to college is the right decision. So, is it? Well, like a lot of things in life, it depends. Let's take a closer look. For the vast majority of human history, getting any formal education was not really a thing for most young people. If the elders in your family were farmers or craftsmen, odds are you would also assume the same profession and your only education was on-the-job training. Gradually, formal education was organized, with ancient Egypt credited with creating the first schools in 2000 BC. The idea also sprang up in ancient China and India, as well as in the Islamic world. This schooling was limited to literacy and basic arithmetic that could be useful in trade, and was mostly conveyed to children of upper-class citizens. Ancient Greece and Rome also offered education to those who could afford it, and in fact most citizens were able to send their kids to at least a few years of schooling. Formal education in Europe was established later on in the early Middle Ages, with most of that run by monasteries and the Roman Catholic Church. Now, this was all very basic learning. Up until the age of science and discovery, there was no need for higher education, as just about all the knowledge that you would ever need could be taught at the primary level until about age 14 or so. Even after centuries of existence, formal education was still based around just philosophy and religion, the arts, languages, basic mathematics, politics, and community law. Interestingly, for those who did attend school, primary education was deemed mandatory in many societies, and it's likely kids growing up over a millennia ago groused just as much about having to get up for school as the modern ones do today. As time went on and the Middle Ages turned into the Renaissance, knowledge of mathematics, engineering, medicine, and the sciences began to grow exponentially, and the idea of additional higher education was born out of necessity. Not coincidentally, some of the oldest universities in the world, such as England's Oxford and Cambridge, which were first established in the 13th century, really became prominent in the 1600s and 1700s, along with the ones in the New World, such as Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. Now, of course, just because there were institutions of higher learning didn't mean a whole lot of diverse people initially attended. Here in the US, colleges and universities were still for the privileged few up until the late 1800s, and became de facto exclusive clubs where parents of wealth and influence were able to send their kids to socialize with others of the same background. The elite Ivy Leagues were also all male until the early to mid 1900s, and didn't fully integrate women until the 1970s, and even as late as 1983 in one case. There were, however, all-female universities as early as the mid-1800s, with some of them becoming quite well regarded in their own right. Minorities also had a difficult start in American colleges and universities, and many historically black colleges were set up to compensate for the fact that the mainstream ones were not admitting a whole lot of black students until after World War II. Some soldiers returning from war with their GI Bills in hand headed to college with their tuition paid for by Uncle Sam, and as millions moved to the suburbs, a new middle class was formed. While initially factory and manufacturing jobs provided excellent pay and stability, it was becoming clear with each passing decade that a college education was the key to the middle class dream. The US was slowly turning away from manufacturing and into an information and knowledge-based society where advanced education was more and more valued. So how many American adults completed higher education, and how much did it cost? Let's take a look at some statistics. In 1960, only 7.7% of US adults completed at least a bachelor's degree. In 1980, this number was at 16.2%. In 2000, it was 25.2%, and in 2020, it stood at about 37.5%. Meanwhile, the cost of higher education, after remaining in line with general inflation from 1940 to 1980, surged dramatically after that decade, with tuition and fees ringing in a 1,200% increase versus just 236 for inflation from 1980 to 2020. Looking at these statistics, it's clear that a very sizable minority of U.S. students are now attending institutions of higher learning, and the jump from around 7% college graduates in 1960 to over 37% in 2020 is a remarkable shift in society in just 60 years. High school graduates today are 5 times more likely to attend and graduate college than their grandparents, and for the most part, this has been a boon to the U.S. economy. Colleges and universities tout the advantages of attending their programs by throwing out statistics such as those with bachelor's degrees earning over $25,000 more per year over a high school graduate and $1.5 million more over their lifetime. Unemployment was historically lower among college graduates, and opportunities to advance in careers were certainly higher. All of the above was true, but the world has changed quite a bit over the past few decades, and there are now significant important nuances with higher education, and they collectively paint a less than rosy picture. It's important to take a close look at these details and ask some hard questions. Perhaps the most important change in the workforce, and the one we need to discuss first, is the rise of the information technology or IT industry. This is a broad category that spans everything from programming and coding to network design, cybersecurity, server support, computer repair and maintenance, and much more. This industry, which didn't really exist just 40 years ago, is very focused on specific and narrow skills. For example, if you work for a company that sets up and configures routers and switches to set up corporate local area networks, then guess what? You only need to be an expert in routers and switches, and while having good communication and writing skills is always a plus, that's not what you got hired for. It's the same idea with coding. If you're tasked with writing software, you better be really good at doing this and hopefully also know numerous computer languages and best coding practices. However, the software developer will not be hiring you for your general knowledge of history, English, sociology, or chemistry, all classes you would likely be taking in a typical undergraduate program. These two examples underscore the fact that you may not need to attend a 4-year college or university to have a career in information technology. You just need a hands-on training class that is just several months, not years long, followed by lots of on-the-job experience. With some hard work, you will soon end up making the same or more than any college graduate. IT work also tends to evolve quickly, much faster than a college program can keep up with, so why even bother attending? Now sure, having a bachelor's or a master's in computer science will not hurt you and will open up some unique opportunities to conceptualize and lead software development efforts. But if your goal is to accrue marketable skills and earn a great living, you simply don't need to spend 4 to 5 years at a university taking liberal arts classes in addition to the more relevant programming ones, and instead should pursue a shortened hands-on training program for the direct skill set. The second very important change in society is the rise in demand for skilled trades. By this, I'm referring to mechanics, electricians, plumbers, roofers, techs, repairmen, and other such blue-collar jobs that require some training and usually an apprenticeship. Precisely because attending college was so heavily pushed upon American youth in the last few decades, many of those who would have chosen a craftsman or skilled trade career didn't end up doing so, and thus creating a supply and demand imbalance. Today, we have a serious shortage of skilled laborers such as diesel mechanics, electricians, and plumbers, just to name a few. TV personality Mike Rowe made a big deal of this with his show Dirty Jobs, which underscored how few such people we have and how well they get paid. The running joke about an elevator repairman earning more per hour maintaining high-rise elevators than the attorneys that ride them isn't that far off the mark. The US doesn't really need more attorneys, but we are woefully short on the folks that repair the elevators that they ride from the parking garage to their offices. One job may indeed be judged by society to be more glamorous than the other, but as far as pay, the gap is not as wide as you would imagine. And it's not just elevator repair. Many skilled trade jobs are very well compensated, and the vast majority of them do not need a 4-year college education, but rather just some specialized training, perhaps some lower division community college, and that apprenticeship. It is unfortunate that there's a stigma sometimes attached to blue-collar skilled trade work, but those who see past that are truly laughing all the way to the bank, as dire need for their skills and a nationwide shortage are driving their pay to unheard of levels. The third major change in society has to do with entrepreneurship and the availability of knowledge and information. Historically, you never really needed a college degree to start up or run a business, only the technical know-how to produce the product or service your business was based on, and of course the financial management and sales skills to get the company off the ground. In the past, this knowledge was buried in a college degree, and many entrepreneurs had a finance, accounting, or management education. These days, however, the essential concepts of how to raise capital and run and market a business are arguably all online and available for anyone to research. For more specialized knowledge, seminars and workshops are available at moderate cost, and this education takes just a few days to a few weeks at most, and certainly not many years, as it's focused and skips all the fluff found in traditional college degrees. Now, is this short-sighted, and is there hidden value in getting a traditional degree if you want to be an entrepreneur? One could argue no. The true value here is self-education and the ability to extract whatever information you need and apply it right away. Also, if you hang around in college for 4 years, you may miss a business opportunity that won't be there as you graduate. This is why many great startups were formed by college dropouts. People like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, and Mark Zuckerberg, just to name a few, all left college early to seize a business opportunity and pretty much taught themselves whatever they needed to get the job done. They actually didn't have it all that easy back then, and they had to crack books and hit up libraries to gain knowledge and information, which today can be accessed with just a few clicks of the mouse. So with all these reasons to perhaps reconsider higher education, are there compelling reasons to in fact attend college and beyond? Yes, of course, there are many professions where it's not only a good idea to attend college, it's in fact a legal requirement in order to perform that job. You certainly want your doctor, engineer, lawyer, nurse, and accountant to have higher education, and for those who want to pursue these careers, it's an absolute must. We can't forget that for many people, being a physician, attorney, or an architect is more than just a pathway to solid income. It's also a calling and a passion, so for these folks, there really is no debate and no choice in the matter. Having said that, however, there are many more young adults out there who do not in fact feel like they have a calling or a career passion, and after looking at the costs of higher education, feel like the traditional path forward just isn't for them. Yet, however, they too would like to earn a good living and not be saddled with extensive debt early in life. In these cases, it is worth looking into alternatives to college, such as in the IT sphere or a skilled trade or even an entrepreneur. Sure, it will take effort and ability to succeed in any of those, but you likely won't be saddled with massive student debt or a useless degree and 4 years of your life that you will never get back. And that's really the point here. We need to stop sending all young adults to college thinking this is the only pathway to a middle-class life, when a significant number of other opportunities exist out there for them. College for college's sake, combined with relatively easy majors that don't pay much upon graduation, will do nothing but saddle the graduates with unmarketable skills and significant student debt. Instead, they can take some time off, figure out what they want, and realize that they have other options if they don't want to attend college. Just as importantly, enlisting in the armed services can be considered, with some military occupational specialties able to give the enlisted critical and highly sought after skills once they get out. Finally, they can also join the Peace Corps, travel, volunteer, and generally find a direction, and if they do want to attend higher education, they will hopefully come in as a more focused and mature individual and make the 4 or more years much more meaningful. So, is college overrated? Well, it depends. Sometimes it's absolutely necessary to what you want to do, and sometimes it's just one of many choices. What do you think about higher education? What was your experience like? Do you regret attending or not attending a college or university? Leave comments below and share your story. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming financial and investing videos such as this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.